Following quite possibly the best offseason in NBA history, many fans went into this season with excitement that, to a large contingent of NBA viewers, was missing over the last few seasons. The absence of a clear title favorite has allowed many fan bases to enter the year with hope. The list of franchises with legitimate title aspirations is longer than it's maybe ever been. 2 weeks into the NBA season, fans have not been left disappointed. An offseason of drama and unpredictability has led to a season that, to this point, has delivered on the promises of the summer that preceded it. Much can change throughout the year. Injuries and unforeseen trades tend to shape the league when least expected. However, certain trends and storylines have stood out to me. Here are my 5 early season takeaways that can potentially carry on throughout the year and tell the story of the 2019-2020 NBA season. Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks are legit and they're here to stay. It was a surprise on draft night of the 2018 draft when the Mavericks were able to trade their way into acquiring the franchise-changing talent that is Luka Doncic. Dallas was able to flip Trae Young and a 2019 protected first, which Atlanta would go on to use on former Duke point guard Cam Reddish, into a player that at the age of 19 was declared the MVP of the EuroLeague, the second best basketball league in the world. The only question remaining was whether or not he would adapt to the athleticism of the NBA. I think at this point it's safe to say he's adapted, to say the least. Coming off of a rookie season where he posted a stat line of 21.2 points, 7.8 rebounds, and 6 assists, production that nabbed him a Rookie of the Year trophy, he's avoided falling into any type of sophomore slump. Through 6 games, he's bumped up his averages to 26.7 points, 10.3 rebounds, and 9.5 assists, while improving his efficiency from the field and three-point range. More impressively, however, he has led Dallas to a 4-2 record, which has them in the middle of a Western Conference playoff race. Equipped with an upgraded supporting cast and a big man co-star in 7'3" Kristaps Porzingis, Luka has the spacing, defense, and young talent around him to realize his potential. I fully expect the Mavericks to make noise throughout the season and for a decade to come. Four bounces. The Philadelphia 76ers were 4 bounces away from the Eastern Conference Finals and a possible championship run.
Dice is on the beat.
After the Sixers traded a bulk of their assets to surround their young superstars with all-star level talent in Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris, it was obvious that the process was over and the time to win is now. Josh Richardson and Al Horford will attempt to fill the holes left by Jimmy Butler and JJ Redick, while Tobias Harris is looking to prove he is worthy of the 5-year, $180 million deal he signed this offseason. The Sixers lost ball handling and shooting, but gained size and athleticism. Philadelphia is one of the longest teams in the league and is hoping that surrounding Simmons and Embiid, the ever-so-dependable Al Horford will shore up their front court while allowing Embiid to stay healthy for the postseason. So far, the Sixers have picked up right where they left off, and as of right now, sit at the top of the Eastern Conference standings despite missing Embiid for 2 games for fighting Karl Anthony Towns. They have arguably the best starting 5 in the league and a true MVP candidate in Joel Embiid. In the postseason, when rotations shorten up and high-end talent carries teams to victory, I fully expect the Sixers to represent the East in the NBA Finals. When he's not fighting Joel Embiid on the court and on social media, Karl Anthony Towns is without question the best offensive big man in the game. A highly athletic finisher at the basket who can handle the rock and shoot the 3 off the dribble or on spot-up attempts, Towns truly has franchise-carrying talent. After his rookie season, GMs are so bullish on his potential that if given the opportunity, a large majority of them would choose to start their franchise around him. A failed Jimmy Butler trade and a disappointing career so far from Andrew Wiggins has kept the Minnesota Timberwolves largely irrelevant for the past few seasons. However, this season, Karl Anthony Towns is putting up MVP level numbers while winning games in the ultra competitive Western Conference. 27.3 points, 11.5 rebounds, and 4 assists has Minnesota looking like they might finally live up to some of that potential we all believed they had. Perhaps the biggest surprise of the NBA season so far has been the bright future Phoenix Suns. While I don't necessarily believe Phoenix will stay in the playoff race throughout the season, their hot start has given me reason to believe they may not be cursed to occupy the cellars of the West for the rest of time. The hiring of Monty Williams as head coach and the signing of Ricky Rubio and MVP candidate Aaron Baines has allowed the Suns to take steps towards becoming a winning franchise. Until this year, it seemed as if Devin Booker was destined to waste his talents on a perpetual lottery team. A couple more seasons and the eventual criticism of good stats on a bad team would have been the story of Booker's career. Instead, he is playing his best basketball of his career and has taken the next step in his personal development. Coming out of the 2015 NBA draft, Towns was seen as the consensus number 1 overall pick. But over the course of his career, Booker has surpassed all expectations of a 13th overall selection and proved that he can't be overlooked. If they both continue to grow as players, that potential Booker, Cat, and Russell Big Three might be more likely and more scary than we think. Coming into the season, much was made about Russell Westbrook and James Harden's friendship off the court. Coming into the league in back-to-back years and making the NBA Finals at such a young age would go a long way in forming a connection between two of the best guards in the league. So when given the opportunity to reunite, their genuine excitement and sense of optimism was to be expected. However, early on in the season the results have been mixed. At the moment of this recording, the Houston Rockets have a 5-3 record. But the path to that record has left me concerned. All of their wins have come against non-playoff teams. Which, if I'm being optimistic, suggests to me that they'll clean up against the teams that they should beat. But when you take into account the fact that they had to score 159 points in regulation in order to beat the Thomas Bryant and Isaac Bonga-led Washington Wizards, you start to make me a bit nervous. Quite frankly, their defense is terrible right now. Over the last few seasons, Harden and the Rockets have done a lot of work to somewhat change the perception of him as a defender. But within the course of 8 games, that may have been destroyed. When Houston took Golden State 7 games in the Western Conference Finals, they did it through a tough switching defense and a constant offensive approach. So far, Westbrook and Harden haven't quite figured out how to get the most of each other while they share the court. And in their minutes apart, they tend to play at a pace that they find personally comfortable, which at times leads to a noticeable difference in playing style, depending on which one is quarterbacking the team at that particular moment. Luckily, they have 74 games left to figure it out, and so far have won when they needed to. But if they want to enter the conversation of legitimate title contenders, they have a lot of work to do. Los Angeles, the home of Kendrick Lamar, Snoop Dogg, palm trees, debilitating airport traffic, and 2 legitimate championship teams. Coming into the season, most people could have probably predicted that a team with 2 All-NBA players and a supporting cast of quality role guys would make noise in a league that's so wide open. It just so happens to be that LA hosts 2 teams that fit that description. The path to the Larry O'Brien Trophy is destined to go through Los Angeles. The Lakers and Clippers are living up to the hype. Let's start with the Clippers. On opening day, they walked into Staples Center with a largely pro-Lakers crowd and proceeded to gut out a win over the Lakers without PG. Since then, they have only gone 4-3, but their losses have come in games where Kawhi has sat and against Aaron Baines. You'd be foolish to expect them to win under those circumstances. When fully manned, they are definitely who we thought they were. The Montrezl Harrell, Lou Williams pick and roll has picked up right where it left off, and Kawhi Leonard has taken over the role of closer for this team. Look no further than his fourth quarter performance in Utah, where he scored 18 points to lead the Clippers to a win against a Utah team that fancies themselves a Western Conference contender. Leonard has made real strides as a playmaker and has upped his assists to a career high of 5.7. When you take load management into account and the potential clunky reintegration of PG, it does become possible that the Clippers' final record won't be indicative of the level of team they actually are. When it's all said and done though, fully expect them to go into the postseason healthy and playing their best basketball. 6 years. That's how long it's been since the Lakers have made the playoffs. LeBron was heavily criticized after signing in Los Angeles. Some said he was preparing for life after basketball and that his days of championship contention might be over. Any chance of a successful season were lost on Christmas Day when LeBron pulled his groin, which would start the process of literally everyone on the Lakers roster dying. However, this year the Lakers are off to their best start in almost a decade. The Lakers responded to that opening night loss by promptly winning 6 games in a row. Along the way, Davis and LeBron have proved why they came into the season considered by many to be the best duo in the league. LeBron has embraced his role as point guard, leading the league in assists, while Anthony Davis is making his Defensive Player of the Year case by leading the league in blocks and being the anchor of the best defensive team in basketball. The ever-consistent Danny Green has brought over his championship pedigree and is leading a Lakers supporting cast that has seen late career revivals from Avery Bradley and Dwight Howard. From scapegoat to fan favorite off the bench, Dwight has shown a level of commitment and professionalism that if he keeps it up, will quite literally save his career. All of this early season success is coming despite the fact they have not yet found their rhythm offensively. Once the three-pointers start falling and Kyle Kuzma gets comfortable after being reinserted into the rotation, the Lakers will get even better. It's a scary thought for a team that already sits at 6-1. There is one thing I didn't mention in fear that I would anger fan bases of all other 29 teams, but there is one player that once freed from his reserve role can tip the balance of power and form a new super team. His name is Caruso.
Stop him, you can only hope to contain him.
If you made it this far into the video, I just want to say thank you. I spent a lot of time making this, to be honest, way too much time making this. But you know, I want to do this more often, and I'm going to try to get out videos twice a week, so if you can, appreciate it if you subscribe. Thank you.